You just gotta have a fun time. Podcast will enlighten your
Motherfucker,
day.
I am invading the goddamn galaxy right now.
What?
Welcome to the Ball Stretchers Anonymous. I am your host, Wyatt, here with Gage, Daniels, and Noah.
What's up?
Today we're going to be talking about a few interesting topics, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Skinwalkers, Dogmen, BigFoot, and of course, aliens. So kind of your basic topics, but some of them kind of go hand in hand, so you can't really talk about one without mentioning the other.
Yeah, definitely. So should we just start it off, or you guys want to talk about like how your day was or anything?
My day's good so far. I woke up, made some coffee.
What about yours, Gage?
I'm good on explaining that one.
Gage, trust you just gotta have a fun time. Podcast will enlighten your
Motherfucker,
day.
I am invading the goddamn galaxy right now.
What? Okay, sounds good to me. My day was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't really do much. Just sat in this chair. Okay, so I think we're talking about Skinwalkers first, right, guys? Unless you want to talk about something else first, one of the other topics.
I think we can start with Skinwalkers.
All right, so we also have a few bullet points written down for all of these topics, but it'll probably lead to other stuff. So,
Crazy shit.
crazy shit. So I feel like you probably know the most about Skinwalkers, Wyatt.
Yeah, I do. I like to do a lot of research and like cryptids and things like this. So, yeah, I can start. So, Skinwalkers, they are something from Navajo legend, but you hear similar stories of them almost across the United States, but that's primarily where they're from. They're skin changers, is what they are.
Skin changers.
Yeah, so pretty much, according to Navajo legend, they're kind of like they're medicine men of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
They're just simply people, but they can change their skin. Typically, they're usually evil. They're not exactly good.
So I have a question with that. So you say like they're people and they change their skin, but like I hear a lot of people talking about like animals, like dogs and stuff, and like wolves and stuff being skinwalkers. Is that even possible?
Well, yes, because see, the skinwalkers, that's what when they change their skin, they change into different types of animals.
Okay.
Like, for example, some stories that I hear is like park rangers out in like Yellowstone, for example. They'll see like oddly big coyotes, and
Those are
they'll
called
just seem to-
wolves, Wyatt.
Well, they see these animals all the time. They can tell the difference between a coyote and a wolf.
I'm sorry.
That was pretty funny.
I wasn't even fucking thinking. I just heard oddly big coyotes.
All right, so where can you do you know like any areas where you like find skinwalkers exactly?
Not really, because
Skinwalker
it's
Ranch.
Yeah, what is the Skinwalker Ranch? There was like a documentary and like a movie on that, but I don't really
You
know
should have
much about
fucking
it.
watched it.
The only
My
thing
fucking
that's-
bad.
We're fucking talking about this shit. It's like,
Do you know about Skinwalker Ranch, Cage?
Okay, he died.
Oh.
Do you know
I
about
guess
Skinwalker Ranch?
all I know about it is the most basics of stuff. It was a ranch. There's a family there. They were always reporting weird things. Had
They got
aliens,
fucking eaten.
Skinwalkers. And then they went missing one
The
day.
family went
Oh
missing?
shit, I was joking about them getting eaten, but...
Wait, the family went missing?
Yeah, they went missing, and it was under very mysterious circumstances. The only thing that was actually left alive was their dog. So they just disappeared without a trace. Some say it was
Didn't the
aliens.
government
others say
take
it
their
was
fucking
skinwalkers.
dog ATF style or some shit?
I wouldn't know anything about that. So I'm actually looking at like stuff about it right now. And it said like apparently where they lived, the previous owners had, I mean, and listen, like all of these topics could be completely just conspiracy, but the past owners say they had like, and the people who've lived on the land, so it's like everyone who's lived there, have like sightings of UFOs, Bigfoot-like creatures, crop circles, glowing orbs, and poltergeist activity.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a whole mix of things. Why they call it Skinwalker Ranch, I'm not sure, when clearly there's a lot more going on there.
Yeah, I think the reason why the Skinwalker stuff is a lot of like the cattle mutilations and stuff.
Well, see, typically that seems more like an alien thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look up why is it called Skinwalker Ranch, I guess, because
Because they breed skinwalkers there.
oh, okay, Gage, thank you. um yeah, I don't, maybe it's the, I don't know. I'm really seeing more stuff about it, like with UFOs and aliens. So I don't know why it's called Skinwalker Ranch to be exact.
No, maybe just because Alien Ranch just doesn't sound as cool.
What if
Yeah, I was gonna
skinwalkers
say
are
because
alien?
on these websites they're saying they're calling it the UFO Ranch.
Fucking crazy people.
Well, but so Skinwalkers, they're they're not evil. Like, they are, but they're not.
They're not inherently evil.
Exactly,
I don't know.
because there's this one story I've heard from actually a different podcast. And I'm just gonna give a brief rundown because I'm not gonna steal, everything this guy said, of course. But
Yeah.
it was actually this park ranger from Yellowstone. He said that he actually seen like this native. He was a man, almost looked like he was wearing like old attire that you would see in like the 1870s or so. Very old Indian clothes. He said he tried talking to the guy, but he just mumbled and would just keep repeating his name. Just really uncharacteristic. He said he actually seen this guy a different time. He's seen him walk into the brush, and then just out of the brush, he's seen the biggest coyote he has ever seen. And he believes that guy had to be a skinwalker, but as it shows, they don't have to be evil.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that actually is evil, and there's a very big misconception that they're the same thing or similar, and those are actually Wendigos. Which Wendigos, they're completely different. I think the only time when they get confused as being the same is because people, when they think of Skinwalker, they think like deer, but usually Wendigos are depicted more as the deer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're usually seen. Wendigos are usually seen like and talked about with like a deer-shaped head and antlers almost.
Yeah,
So
that might be a more stylistic approach as well, that just everybody kind of catched onto, because when you really look at the whole mythos of it, there's just not exactly anything to support like a deer-esque appearance. Because pretty much what the Wendigo is it's a cannibal beast that is just always hungry, but it itself is never the one that does the eating, and you never see the Wendigo. It's more so that the Wendigo has an effect on people that cause people to become cannibalistic. There's a lot of stories of people getting caught out in like blizzards and like bad conditions, getting lost with other people. and they turn to cannibalism to survive, often those are actually blamed on the Wendigo curse, as they call it. Which it's not like they become Wendigo, but it's that they're being influenced by the Wendigo to become this cannibal.
Yeah.
Which, with Native American legend, it could very well just be them trying to explain those cannibalistic tales and whatnot. It's an interesting subject because you don't see Wendigos. You just
Yeah.
kind of feel their presence.
Okay. Uh, shoot. Then I think it's a good spot to end for Skinwalkers and Wendigos. Then I'd say, because I mean, there's only so much you can say about both of them because like, there's never been any like solid evidence on
Well,
either.
there has never been solid evidence, and I know like Skinwalkers have become like they really got popular all of a sudden a little
Yeah,
while
it's
back. You
almost
still
like
kind of see
ghosts
them
and
around
stuff. You
now,
can't
but
really be sure what's real and what's not.
yeah, I will actually say this, which I was surprised to find out that not a lot of people know this, but you know that one really popular picture of that Skinwalker like on the trail cam?
Yeah,
It
it's
looks like
back. It
almost like a
looks like
man,
it's
but it's on all
disformed
fours.
almost. Yeah, like its hind legs are
Yeah,
like up to it, like a point or something.
well, that picture
This
is
one.
actually from a movie.
This one.
It's an
That
old
one.
movie. It's an old, yeah,
Yeah.
it's an old movie from the '80s, kind of a
Really.
unknown sci-fi movie. And there's just a one scene in the movie where it shows the creature from the movie, and that is exactly what it is. So
Okay.
I hate to break it to everybody that picture is actually a blatant hoax.
Well, I actually didn't even know that. Um. Yeah. I guess that's pretty cool because a lot of people did think that was real
Well,
and couldn't explain it. So.
now see, if we're talking about like creatures that uh haunt the woods and that actually do pose a do actually see the first thing that comes to my mind are actually dogmen,
Before we get
which
into
is not to be confused with werewolves.
before we get into the Dogman, like, do you believe in Skinwalkers or Wendigos in any way, like 100%, or?
I really can't say. You know, they're Native American legends, which, if
Mhm.
you know anything about Native American legends, most of them, they're kind of they're meant to for kids. They're to keep them away from going out in the forest at night.
Yeah.
Mostly, you see that with stories of Bigfoot and, of course, like Dogman. But there could be something there. Like where do you get the idea of these creatures from? There has to be some kind of foundation for it.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Gage?
Huh? Sorry, I'm
Uh,
fucking.
do you do you think you'd say you're a believer of Skinwalkers or Wendigos?
Yeah,
Like 100%, you think they're real, or like?
100%. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to get your
What makes you
guys'
say
inputs
that?
on that. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Gage. Why do you think they're real? Like, is there any reasoning behind it, or just because you just kind of have a gut feeling?
It's just a gut feeling. I'd rather it stay that way.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely understandable. I mean, there's a lot of convincing stuff out there for them, but it's one of those things where you almost have to like feel it, like there, like a presence of it, or like see it to believe it. I don't know if that's just me, but I don't know. Hopefully, I never actually have to see one though. But okay, so back to Dogmen.
Yeah. So
Okay, that's a pretty
so
interesting.
dogmen are, like I said, they're different from werewolves, but similar.
I think
You
you
know,
might be
they're
lagging
this
there.
cross between man and a wolf. The only difference is a werewolf. You always hear about them. There's something that makes them turn into a werewolf, like a full moon and stuff like that. Dogmen, though, they are just by nature always this cross between a man and a wolf,
Okay.
which I feel like dogmen are much more credible to believe than like a werewolf.
Yeah, I
A
was gonna
man
say
changing
maybe
into
the
a wolf.
transformation might make it a little bit less believable, but
But see, dogmen, I'm gonna be honest with you, they're downright terrifying.
what makes you say that?
Well, because whenever you hear stories about them, they're not, uh, they're never good. See, unlike Bigfoot, they're not this benign creature that just kind of tries to hide from you, might watch you, but they never have any bad intent, like a
Yeah.
Bigfoot does.
Curiosity.
Dogmen, dogmen, however, any story you hear about them, it almost seems as if they're actually hunting you. They're
They'll
never
fucking. They will fucking eat
they're
you.
never watching. They're always hunting or pursuing, and it almost makes you scared to go out in the woods because, well, let me explain a bit more about what a dogman is. So there's stories of them across the entire United States. I know there's a lot in Kentucky, but I know with some Indian tribes, they see them as being some kind of spirit in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but usually with them, they're something that's deep in the woods. In the deep woods, you don't go into their territory because if you do, they will hunt you down and they will get their vengeance because they are highly territorial beings.
Also, I've noticed that like a lot of these creatures have really close correlation with native like beliefs and stuff like that. I wonder I wonder why that is, to be honest. Cuz Skinwalkers and Wendigos are both like I believe they were originally made up or seen first by Native Americans and stuff. And same with a
I,
lot of these other creatures.
I believe a lot of it just has to do with how like these legends are formed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the cryptids that came from Europe, for example, you can clearly tell they're more of a European thing. Like for example, the Snallygaster,
Mhm.
which is an entire
That's a weird
top.
pretty
It's an entire topic on its own, but it was brought to Maine, I believe, from German immigrants, and just very very different from these kind of creatures. But it's just to show that each culture has their own uh, legends like this, but they're not formed anymore, or even in the past around when America was formed, they have much deeper, further back lineage, which of course the Native Americans were here in America much longer, so they had more time to form these legends.
yeah. Okay.
But
Um
let's get back to Dogman
yeah.
quick. So I want to talk about their hunting patterns because it's really interesting. Not the most interesting but frightening part about them. See, the typical hunting pattern that you always hear people say with them is goes something like this: you're walking out in the woods, peaceful day, but you just have this unnerving feeling, almost as if you're being watched, but you just kind of brush it off. You walk deeper in the woods, and everything just becomes quiet. As if there is some kind of predator around. Uh, you start getting glimpses as
Yeah.
if you might see something moving in the brush. You just can't really make it out. And then you see it. It
Yeah.
looks to be a very big wolf
Mhm.
or like a really big dog just sitting there, usually watching you. Of course, this gets people a little worried, and they're just, oh, it's a wolf, or some people might even say it's a bear just because of the size. There's even some stories where hunters actually take some shots at them, and
Really?
they don't move, they don't budge, and they're certain that they actually hit it.
Wow.
But then they see these things stand up on their hind legs, and that's when they realize they're not dealing with a wolf, a dog, or a bear. At that point, usually people, they start running. They try to get out of there because whatever it is clearly has no good intent with them.
Yeah, definitely not.
There's a lot of stories of them chasing people out of the woods and stuff like that.
Um, so we talked about this a little bit before the podcast, and we have this written down. So, what makes? Because you talked about the difference between dogmen and werewolves, but what makes dogmen different from Bigfoot?
Well, kind of as I said before, encounters with Bigfoot, it's more benign. They don't mean any ill intent. You don't feel as if you're threatened. It's more just curiosity. Whereas dogmen, they have nothing but ill intent towards you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that could
Um,
continue. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about our next topic, but if you still have more to add to Dogman, then go for it.
Oh no, I think we covered pretty much everything with Dogman, but if anybody here is interested about Dogman, just feel free to comment and just let us know, and we can definitely get more subjects on it.
It's actually really interesting to me how like you never hear really anything about dogmen compared to like
It
like
really
a
is
werewolf or something.
like considering that they are such a prolific killing machine, and there is actually stories of people dying to these things,
Yeah,
and these things killing bears, and
I was gonna
it's
say
just
because the
really is
dogmen
shocking we don't hear about them, considering they are
they definitely
probably
seem
America's most
belie-
scary
and
cryptid.
most believable type cryptid.
Very believable.
Okay, so leading into our next topic, we kind of relates to the old last one, but we have Bigfoot. So I'm once again gonna hand this topic over to you guys. This is kind of your episode. Um, we have a few things here to talk about with Bigfoot. So you and Gage both talked about beforehand that there were a lot of different types of Bigfoot, and I had no clue about that. So if you guys want to elaborate on that, that'd be pretty interesting to hear about.
Yeah, sure. So I'll talk part of it. And I can let Gage get a word in. He hasn't been saying much, but
Sorry.
uh, not just in America. There are stories of Bigfoot across the world, but they're just very different region to region.
Yeah.
In Australia, they have the Yowie, which is uh, a much more aggressive Bigfoot, usually of red hair. Uh, and then you have in Vietnam, I believe, it's similar to a Bigfoot but much smaller. And there's actually been stories of soldiers in the Vietnam War seeing these things. And that's known as the Orang Pendek, I believe.
Uh, or yeah, that is. I'm looking it up right now. So another one that I don't think people realize would be considered a Bigfoot too are Yetis.
Yeah,
Because Yetis are more like snowy, like frozen area type Bigfoot, right? Big feet, Bigfoot. I don't know what the plural would be.
yeah, the Yetis that came from the Himalayas, that whole area, Nepal more so. Um, but the whole Yeti legend is actually spread more throughout areas like Russia. So, two entirely different geographically regions, but just because it's in the snow, they typically go with the term Yeti.
Mhm.
But as you can see, the legend of these big hairy wild men are throughout the entire world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and honestly, I honestly think Bigfoot is kind of a believable thing because it's like I don't know. I feel like it's if humans are here, gorillas are here. I feel like a Bigfoot could be possible.
Yeah, you know, I definitely believe there has to be something out there. There could be, and I mean, there's just too much to not believe something.
Yeah, and I'm looking up here. So apparently, a Sasquatch before has tossed a man into a tree. Another variant that I can't pronounce, mauled a woman actually, and a mink, which is another type of Bigfoot, killed 9 hikers while they slept. So there's a lot of these like coincidences. I don't know if you can call them that, but like there's a lot of these like actual events where like especially the tossing into a tree one where I feel like that would almost be impossible unless it was something like a Bigfoot.
Uh, I have been doing a little looking into the whole Bigfoot legend a while back, and it kind of goes back into how legends change over time, and it might even help us get a better idea of what Bigfoot truly is.
Mhm.
Not just in America, but across the world.
Okay.
I'll go back to Europe, but these stories also happened in America. Um, Before we met the Native Americans and got the term Sasquatch and pretty much what formed what Bigfoot is to us today, they were simply known as wild men, which was kind of almost self-explanatory. They were very hairy men out in the wood, like very, very man-like, but just wild. And
Yeah.
like I said, covered in hair, no clothes. Uh, which kind of gives us an idea about what Bigfoot could be. You know, it might be that the way we see Bigfoot now might just be due to pop culture and the spread of media, and especially events like the Patterson film
Mhm.
from back in the day, which is still widely argued on whether the footage is real or not. There's proof for both angles, which I think while we're at that subject, I might go into that just a bit because it really is interesting. Um, I'm sure you all know the Patterson film. It's that one video of the Bigfoot walking against the riverbed, shaky
Okay, yeah.
camera, old
Yeah.
footage.
I don't think a
People
lot of
have
people knew that
done
was fake either. I thought a lot of people think that one's real as well, that picture.
well. There's evidence for both.
But oh, okay. So it wasn't set up like that's supposed to be like a real
Well,
video or
I'll get into this. So I'll start with why it might be real. Um, Now, if any of you actually have ever watched Monster Quest, a really old show, they actually got really into proving whether it's real or not. And a lot of the evidence proved towards it being real, such as they tried to get they tried to recreate it as well as they could, like get somebody like trying to get somebody to fit into the dimensions of that costume. They could not do it. They could not get people to get the walking patterns right. It was impossible. And there's a lot of arguments as well, because at the time when that was recorded originally in the 60s, I mean, that is a very, very good costume for that time. Like, they didn't have that style of costume, especially for somebody that would just buy it. Maybe if you're an extremely big Hollywood production, you might be able to. But even then,
yeah, that's really interesting. Gage, do you have anything you want to throw
Huh?
in relating to Bigfoot? Because you seemed really interested in Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's a very interesting thing because Bigfoot is the master of camouflage, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
People have reported seeing him for, I think it was, what, centuries now?
I would, yeah, I would say definitely, yeah.
yeah, as I
Yeah.
said, like even before the term Bigfoot, it was wild men.
Yeah. But, Bigfoot, even with all of our modern technology and the people who have gone on to search, haven't really physically seen him at all.
Uh-huh.
But and you're seeing this with a lot of like cryptids and like mysterious stuff like aliens, Bigfoot, Dogmen, the Skinwalkers, especially the aliens, like the outer space aliens. With like very high quality phones and stuff like that becoming available, you're seeing this like huge uptick in people like seeing it because alien sightings have been reported for a century, but no one ever believed them because there's no way to physically prove it. But now with all this, new video and stuff coming out like this, it's making it a lot harder for government to disprove that there is something out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've seen like the American government loosen its lips on aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard like people talk, because the star system, I think it was hold on. People think that there are aliens that originate from the Sirius star system. When you look in the night sky, it'll be the brightest. Should be the brightest star in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It's a binary star system. There's really not much there. So I think there was only a few stars there. Because the Sirius system's only a couple of light years away. And what was it? People think, what are they called?
I couldn't tell you.
When they call they mention the aliens there, they call them
like extraterrestrials or.
Well, that's what all aliens and everything
know.
is like called. But people think like ancient humans may have come from there, or.
So are you saying like you believe that Bigfoot or like the different types of him could be like aliens almost?
I'm not gonna say
there's
alien,
a lot of theories.
I do think like a lot of what happened is on Earth easily could have evolved because like when we find extinct animals, look at what they were like.
Yeah.
If we were on Earth a few million years ago, it would have been completely alien to us.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was really confused at where you were going with that, but I actually get what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah, like so what we are seeing here, like the Bigfoots, the Wendigo, and stuff like that. Some of them may be like of a supernatural or extraterrestrial origin, but stuff like Bigfoot could just as easily be something native to Earth, but so alien to us.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying now. Yeah, that's definitely a really interesting take on it. I don't think I've ever actually heard that.
Because alien doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
Alien just means something that's not known to us. Like back before World War II, the thought of nuclear physics was alien to most anybody.
Okay. So I think you were talking a little bit more about Bigfoot too. Well, talk a little bit more about him.
I can already see we're kind of putting our foot into the alien section, but I will just quickly kind of finish what I was saying about the whole Patterson footage. As I said, there was a really good proof towards it, which that actually made me believe that it has to be real. But I actually found recently out that a year prior to the footage being filmed, Patterson himself actually made a drawing, and I believe he even made a book or a story, I don't remember which, of the same exact events happening. And that was a year prior to the footage. So, that alone, to me, kind of disproves the footage.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But, I just find it really surprising. A lot of people don't know that. But I do also believe maybe there's something there that kind of... people like the mystery. People like to believe.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand why they don't spread that information. I mean, look at all the, like the Bigfoot hunting shows and stuff. They're not going to bring up information that disproves Bigfoot. But I do believe that it is something that should be talked about.
Yeah, definitely. Bigfoot's a really interesting topic, so we'll go into this one. I don't know if I asked you guys this already, because I asked you guys with the first two topics, so I'm just going to ask you guys with all of them. Do you guys believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Wyatt?
I believe in aspects of Bigfoot.
Could you elaborate on that?
I believe that there might be something, like, for example, the Orang Pendek.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that's in Vietnam. I do believe in that
Okay.
because it's not very Bigfoot-like. It's more monkey-like, which I believe there could totally be something in that area.
Okay. I personally think this is like it's really interesting to talk about, but I don't know. I think Bigfoot could definitely be a possibility. Like I said, I agree with you a little bit, kind of like what you said, Wyatt, like with some aspects of it. But I don't know if it's exactly how like everyone thinks he is. Like he's just some big brolic fucking dude.
Big brolic.
Big brolic fucking dude.
I do definitely believe there would be some more information about him if there was one.
Yeah.
And clearly better video quality. I mean, you do a lot of editing on videos, and just you alone, you know that lower quality videos make them easier to edit, make them more convincing.
Like you can make something high quality, throw in a shitty 3D picture of Bigfoot in there, but lower the quality of it and it'd look real as hell. Everyone would think it's real.
Exactly. So typically when I try to find Bigfoot content, I really just ignore the low quality videos because especially in now, like today's day and age, nobody has quality, like phone quality of that degree, like that low quality. So either it's older videos or just heavily tampered with. Unless you're Gage, who just has like a brick.
Yeah, unless you just have a fucking brick of a phone. Okay, so I think we can probably go on to our next topic now, which is...
I believe Bigfoot's definitely a whole episode on its own.
Yeah, definitely. We could definitely go a lot more into Bigfoot, and I think we will in a future episode. Honestly, all of these topics we could eventually turn into their own episode, because there's so much going on with all of them. So we have aliens for this topic, which doesn't really relate to the other ones. I mean, Gage kind of made it relate to them, which does help the episode, but we are going to start off the aliens topic, because everyone knows about aliens, everyone knows what they are. Do you guys believe in aliens before we get into anything with it?
Oh, yeah.
Easily. I think it'd be unreasonable not to believe in aliens. Like, I think...
With how big our galaxy, even our local star systems, I would find it very unlikely that something hasn't already found us.
Either that, or even aliens such as, like, fucking a little bug. That could be an alien. I think there's gotta be something out there with life.
That's what I believe, that there might be life out there, but it would be primitive life. I do not believe in the whole UFOs.
No, I believe there's already advanced life out there.
I mean, like there could be advanced life out there, but if there is, I feel like if they were in our solar system at least, we would have somehow, with radio waves or something, made a communication.
Scientists have said, in all likelihood, we will not find aliens. We will find traces of them before we find them, and vice versa. They'll find traces of us. We have sent probes and stuff far beyond anything humans do. They'll find traces of humans across wherever our stuff goes before they ever find us, unless they have already found us.
So that's really interesting because, like, there's probably millions of solar systems out there, and I feel like there's got to be, in all of those maybe, there's got to be some sort of advanced or, like, human-like, maybe caught up with humans type thing out there, but, like, nobody... If we can't communicate with them and they're similar to us, they won't communicate to us. And it'll be billions of years probably before anything like that would ever even come close to happening. So, what do you think, Wyatt? Do you believe in aliens?
I think to an extent I do.
You think more like the primitive, right? Like you said.
Yes.
Okay. So our first subject with aliens we're gonna talk about is like all the documents relating to UFOs and stuff like that released by the government. And I don't know too insanely much about that. I'm sure Gage would probably know the most about that for some reason.
About what?
Yeah.
Like the UFO documents released by the government.
Actually, no.
That's actually
I
so
don't know
surprising to
much
me.
about-
So the government, the U.S. government, I think July of last year.
And even recently, they're still opening
yeah,
up
they
more
still-
and more documents.
Yeah, but I think the first documents like they've officially released about it because of the COVID relief bill or whatever. July of last year, they released like their footage of UFOs, and they claimed they actually were not able to trace what it was, like what they were unable to identify them.
Oh, are these like the drones and stuff that are going around seeing, like going around U.S. warships and stuff like that they can't like see on radar or anything?
No, like they're seeing like actual UFOs, like almost like the flying saucer type shit or like weird spaceship type.
See,
shit.
like they've had reports of like drones and stuff like that, so like circling American warships and stuff like that, and they've not been able to figure out what they are or if they're extraterrestrial or if they're made by some foreign country that we have yet to figure out. But they can't see these drones on any scanners, and almost all of America's warships now use scanners to target their weapons. Like they don't manually target anymore. And if these drones are actually making it right next to our ships and our war fleets without us knowing, unless we physically see them, that is a huge threat to America's Navy.
Yeah, that really is. I definitely feel like using technology like that is a good idea, but you still have to be able to go back and do things manually.
I believe they could, but if these drones are like really small, I mean,
I'm gonna actually look that up. So while I'm okay, yeah, this was wow, Gage, you actually a lot of this was
recent.
Okay, so there was one like 6 and 5 days ago, but there was another similar experience where a mysterious series of attacks on U.S. Navy warships in June were like by mysterious drones, but that was solved apparently. So that was I'm trying to find out. Let's see. Oh, okay. That was apparently from Iraq. So they figured those ones out. But 6 days ago, there was something else that happened with drones and stuff that were untraceable. So I do see what you were talking about. And they were unclassified. And they almost look like 3 little lights on a camera that are just unable to be censored. You're right. They can't scan them or anything. So, yeah, I don't really know much about that. It's probably in reality that is probably just another country trying to fuck us up or someplace. I don't know. But it definitely could be a UFO or alien type thing. So I think you brought this one up, Wyatt. Different types of aliens. So
yes, there's a lot of different types of alien species that people claim, of course.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get into all of them because, frankly, there's a lot of them and I don't know all of them. But there's a few of the basic ones that everyone kind of knows about. If I can find some reference material of those, it would definitely help me a bit.
Let me see if I can help you there.
But I can already start talking about 2 of them, at least, that I know, and maybe even 3, even if I don't know their proper name. The first one, of course, being the Greys, which it's the aliens that we all know. The short of stature, very round head, but pointed at the chin, large eyes. The Greys typically, they're the ones that do the abducting and usually the scientific research, you could say. Not exactly evil by any means, but they are the ones that abduct the most.
Who are we talking about?
The Grey aliens.
Okay, so I'm looking at. I found a list.
Oh,
that
is
has
this
them.
like? Is it like? Because I'm gonna make a Stellaris reference because it's the only way I know how to explain it simply. When you find primitive or what's considered a primitive civilization, you can have different ways of like studying them. You can not study them. You can like passively watch them, where it's like, oh, just watch them.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do what's called aggressive study, where it's like, oh, well, like kidnap something from the planet and study it and then put it back. Like, 'cause that's what it sounds like.
See,
It's like
that's
it'll
how
take
that's
stuff
how
from
the
Earth.
encounters that's how the encounters with Greys usually go. Usually when I think aliens, and this is what people always see. There are aliens closely related to the Greys, though, which people actually believe are made from the Greys, and these are the hybrids. I'm sure there's a better name for them, but that's what they're kind of known as. Pretty much a mixture between a Grey alien and a human. So it's according to people, they're seeing lesser to the Greys, but if the Greys want to make a better impression on people they abduct, not scare them, that's usually what they show them because it's more human-like.
Yeah.
And then there's the aliens that are heavily aggressive, but they don't do as many abductions, and that's the reptilians. Which, of course, you always hear about the reptilians. They're the ones that's infiltrating the government, or actually like world leaders. Who can really say? But they're usually seen as more lizard-like, a bit more aggressive, but they do less abductions.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about the different types. I have a list right here, but some of the main ones are Flatwoods monsters, which are tall humanoids with a spade-shaped head. There's the Hopkinsville goblins, small greenish silver humanoids. There's another one that's just called Little Green Men. They're green humanoids. Even though a few abductions have referred to green skin, no report has ever involved anything that would fit the classic cultural stereotype of little green men. They are... Okay. Then there's the Nordic aliens, which I'm pretty sure... These ones that can be called the tall whites. And these ones relate to our next, thing with the aliens, the Canadian Defense Minister, because he's the one that actually talked about these ones. And the tall whites and Nordic aliens were, they're humanoids with stereotypical Nordic features, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, and have featured in several cases of contact. It is said they're from ancient Earth, but presenting themselves as ETs in the past. They moved from living on the surface to live underground around the Himalayas area after a natural event. But these ones definitely seem like the most realistic one, in my opinion. Especially, okay, so this one, we'll talk about the Canadian Defense Minister with this one. So, the ex-Canadian Defense Minister basically came out, I think in 2017, and talked about alien contact. I'm not 100% sure because there's a lot with that, but he eventually mentioned the Nordic aliens, and a lot of other government officials relating to Canada have confirmed what he said. So it definitely seems like it could be a possibility. So I don't want to just say it's outright true, but
it seems like how he worded it is that the aliens, they were actually here to help us.
Yeah.
They were here to make sure that we don't destroy ourselves, but
I'm okay with the aliens doing.
Us being us.
We have a habit of killing ourselves off.
Yeah.
So we essentially pushed them away and tried to even fight them off here and there, but they're like you said, they're more peaceful. So there wasn't exactly some global war.
Yeah, they kind of just
We
told us what we were
essentially
doing wrong,
pushed them
backed off.
away, is
Yep.
what the Canadian minister is saying.
Yeah. So yeah, I really think the tall whites, or the Nordic aliens, is what they're most known by, are definitely some of the most, like,
I'm
most
not here to
believable aliens.
destroy you.
Yeah, they definitely seem like they're pretty peaceful. If they're real, they seem like they're pretty peaceful. And they seem the most believable personally. So, do you guys have anything else you'd like to throw in with the alien topic or any of the other topics we've gone through?
Not really.
Actually, I would like to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, there's been kind of this spike in people seeing lights in the sky and
Yeah,
thinking
definitely.
instantly aliens. I can already tell you that's not what it is.
Oh wait, is that are you going to talk about the Starlink project from SpaceX?
Yes. See, actually, I have my
Yeah.
own little experience with this. I wasn't there for it, but my mom and her friends were. They looked up in the sky. They seen this row of lights. It
Yeah.
was there, and then it disappeared. They were certain it was an alien. They
And
couldn't explain it.
Honestly, though, any
but
reasonable person, if they just saw that without knowing the context, would think it's
Yeah.
Exactly. But when my mom told me that, I remembered hearing on the news that the Starlink satellites, at least older ones, they reflect light really well. By mistake, they didn't want them to do that, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I told her that's what it is, and so that's kind of going out to everyone out there. If you see a row of lights in the sky, or even a single light that's moving, or that disappears, odds are
It's not going to
they're
eat you.
Starlink. They're Starlink satellites.
Yeah.
And I think if you're like paying attention, you can like if you pay attention to like space stuff, I think they like show like not show but like say when they're launching rockets and stuff, and they like show the path. So if you see it, you can go like outside and look and see if you can like see them doing this. Because I remember they launched I think one time 4 or 5 rockets in a single day
Mm-hmm.
into
Yeah.
space.
Oh
And
no,
it
it's
was
crazy. Online, you can actually look up a mapping of the Starlink satellites, and there's hundreds of them. Like they cover so much of the Earth, actually.
Yeah. A lot of
And
people
you
think
will
those
see
are.
that.
Continue.
Oh no, sir, go ahead.
So a lot of people think that those satellites are actually eventually going to be capable of making almost like a shield defense thing for Earth.
And it just showing like how easily and how quickly we can launch those kind of satellites and just cover the Earth and be so careful with the patterning of them. It is very possible that we could do something like that in the future.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think you guys got anything else you'd like to throw in?
Not really, no.
What about
No,
you?
I think we
Anything
pretty
else?
much covered everything really well. And, like I said earlier, if, anybody wants to hear more about any of these subjects or something else
Just
related,
let us know, and
you know,
we'll definitely
we
cover it.
love talking about cryptids and mysteries. So, if you ever want to bring something up, just contact us or
Yeah.
comment below. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere where you can comment, oh yeah, we'll totally look into it and do it.
Yeah, because these episodes definitely take the most, like, researching compared to our normal ones. But personally, I feel like they're the most, like, interesting to talk about and hear about for, like, most people, because it kind of relates to everyone and an experience they've had or will have in some way. So, yeah, been cranking out a lot of episodes recently. Doing podcasts are pretty fun. Make sure you guys check out our website and follow all of our socials. Make sure you go check out the BSA Plus channel. We got some shorts on there, and we'll have some like other content coming over there soon. Follow our Twitter. Make sure you listen on Spotify, Apple Music. What's the other one called? Amazon Music. Check us out all there. And yeah, any last words from you guys?
I just got my dick kicked in Stellaris.
Okay.
Not fucking joking.
All right. Well, any last words from you, Wyatt, for the podcast?
I would like to say, no, I'm not certain about this, but I believe in maybe the near future, we might actually go into the Mothman mythos.
Oh yeah,
So that's something to look
that
forward
would be very
to.
interesting. We've got a lot of cool episodes and cool ideas coming up soon. These past few episodes we've done been great, personally. I love doing these. I'm sure everyone else can say the same. So, yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. In episode, I think, 5. So, yeah, peace out.